Thank you guys for watching this video. Like and subscribe to see more videos. Let's get into the video.
1 Chapter 1 Yuzuru Uchiha MT Purity Test. Pat on the head. Konoha Village. Uchiha Clan Estate. Dozens of Uchiha clan members gathered outside Naka Shrine, standing in small groups. The low, chaotic chatter broke the tranquility of the night. Yakumi, you heard, right? It seems Senior Yuzuru is going to be promoted to squad leader this time. As expected of Senior Yuzuru, becoming a squad leader so young. If I'm not mistaken, Senior Yuzuru should be the youngest squad leader in history, right? Yes, even Lord Fugaku didn't achieve something like this at Senior Yuzuru's age. Inaho, we're about to become members of the military police force as well. Do you think we'll be assigned under Senior Yuzuru? I hope so. Two youths, who looked to be only about 10 years old, secretly glanced at Senior Yuzuru, whom they were discussing. At this moment, Uchiha Yuzuru was casually leaning against a large tree, a long katana slung across his back. His black long hair fluttered in the wind, and his dark eyes were deeper than the night. Although he tried his best to control it, his slightly rising and falling chest somewhat revealed the turmoil within Uchiha Yuzuru. Just now, he felt as if he had a dream, awakening the memories of his past life. Damn it, I was treated like a speed bump. Uchiha Yuzuru muttered to himself. As a Hokage enthusiast and a head-patting expert in the duel arena, Yuzuru, after being cried pure by an Umbu kid once again, went out to buy food in a daze. As soon as he stepped onto the road, he hit the jackpot. After failing to win despite his best efforts, he transmigrated into the world of Hokage, becoming a member of the Uchiha clan. He became a true villager. It was only today that he awakened his past life memories. Uchiha. Yuzuru raised his arm and rubbed his brow, taking a deep breath. Although the Uchiha clan possessed a powerful bloodline limit, their ending was not good. In the original story, as the clan that founded Konoha, they eventually fell to the point of extermination due to the Konoha higher-ups' ostracization and hostility. The most crucial thing was that such a powerful family was wiped out without a single soldier being used. Anyone who saw it would have to say one thing: frustrating. Even if you couldn't win, you should at least resist, right? Ultimately, they were tricked. However, after a brief thought, Uchiha Yuzuru didn't dwell on it too much. It was Konoha year 41, and there was still a long time before the night of the extermination. Now that he had awakened his memories, there was still a lot of room for maneuver. As for whether to save the family or protect himself, to live anonymously or leave for another land, these matters would need to be considered later based on the actual situation. Just as Uchiha Yuzuru was thinking, a crisp notification sound rang in his mind.
Ding.
Congratulations to the host for successfully awakening past life memories and binding the family system. Currently bound family, Uchiha clan. Current family population prosperity, purple. Family population prosperity, white, green, blue, purple, gold, cyan, red. Unique trait, irreversible. Irreversible, after receiving reward enhancements, even if the family population declines, it will not affect one's own strength. However, until the family population recovers to its peak, increasing family population prosperity will not grant additional power. Hint: the stronger the family, the greater the feedback to the host. Currently available family treasure chests: white treasure chest, green treasure chest, blue treasure chest, purple treasure chest. System activated. Congratulations to the host for receiving a newbie gift pack. With a series of system notifications, the corner of Uchiha Yuzuru's mouth curved slightly. Alright, the goal was clear now. No more hesitation. Family system. Prosperity for all, loss for all. He was going to save the Uchiha clan. System. Open the newbie gift pack. Uchiha Yuzuru silently recited in his mind. Immediately after, the system notification sound in his mind rang again.
Ding.
Congratulations to the host for obtaining one transfer scroll, consumable. Transfer scroll, mark a location in advance to perform a one-time transfer of all family members. Looking at the reward from the newbie gift pack, Uchiha Yuzuru's heart stirred, and countless thoughts flashed quickly through his mind. It actually gave him a scroll that could transfer all family members. This way, he wouldn't need to stay in Konoha and endure grievances anymore. Just thinking about the expressions of Hiruzen Sarutobi and Danzo Shimura and others when they discovered that all Uchiha clan members had vanished one morning, Uchiha Yuzuru felt like laughing. Hostile towards us, Uchiha? Viewing our Uchiha clan as a hidden danger? Then let's see if you can still leisurely enjoy life like this after Uchiha clan leaves. After thinking for a while, Uchiha Yuzuru's mind moved, and he directly opened the remaining 4 treasure chests.
Ding.
Opened white treasure chest. Congratulations to the host for receiving the rewards, Shuriken throwing technique plus Genin level chakra.
Ding.
Opened green treasure chest. Congratulations to the host for receiving the rewards, 5 element chakra plus Chunin level chakra.
Ding.
Opened blue treasure chest. Congratulations to the host for receiving the rewards, Uchiha style Kenjutsu plus Jonin level chakra.
Ding.
Opened purple treasure chest. Congratulations to the host for receiving the rewards, Mangekyo Sharingan selection chest plus overall ability boosted to Kaga level. A warm current instantly flowed through his limbs and bones, and Uchiha Yuzuru's chakra began to rapidly increase. In just a brief moment, it reached an incredibly terrifying level. At the same time, memories related to the shuriken throwing technique and Uchiha-style Kenjutsu cultivation also appeared in his mind. However, Uchiha Yuzuru didn't pay too much attention to these things. Instead, he immediately checked the Mangekyo Sharingan selection chest he had just received. Mangekyo Sharingan selection chest. The host can choose a pair of Mangekyo Sharingan dojutsu. 1. Tsukuyumi plus Amaterasu. 2. Amaterasu plus Kagutsuchi. 3. Amaterasu plus Tsukuyumi. 4. Dual Kamui. 5. Koto Amatsukumi. Looking at the rewards in the selection chest, Uchiha Yuzuru felt a little parched. These rewards were too powerful. Without any hesitation, Uchiha Yuzuru directly chose Dual Kamui. Dual Kamui was the dojutsu in Uchiha Obito's Mangekyo Sharingan. It not only allowed him to shift between reality and intangibility, but also possessed the ability to remotely snipe enemies by distorting space, and it came with its own Kamui dimension. It could attack and defend, advance and retreat. Even in games, Kamui's intangibility ability was an extremely difficult skill to counter. In the original story, Uchiha Obito, with just one Mangekyo Sharingan, was able to throw the ninja world into chaos. Now, having the opportunity to obtain the power of Dual Kamui, Uchiha Yuzuru could only say that anyone who didn't choose this would definitely be a fool.
Ding.
Congratulations to the host for successfully obtaining the reward, Dual Kamui. As the system notification fell, Uchiha Yuzuru's mental energy and his chakra, which had just reached Kaga level, began to surge again. In just a few seconds, Uchiha Yuzuru's strength experienced another leap. With a thought unnoticed by anyone, several flying insects quietly passed through Uchiha Yuzuru's body as if encountering no resistance. After a simple sensation, Uchiha Yuzuru couldn't help but cover his forehead with one hand, lowering his head and laughing. New power. Haha, I didn't expect it to be so powerful. 2 Chapter 2. Fugaku with evil eyes. Nothing more than that. Sudden laughter pierced the tranquility of the night, causing all the Uchiha clansmen around Ninga's shrine to look over. No one knew why this genius, the newest generation in the clan, would suddenly burst out laughing. Uchiha Yuzuru paid no mind to their gazes. Although he was a transmigrator, he was also a native-born Uchiha. Having suddenly gained such powerful strength, not letting out a signature Uchiha-style hearty laugh would simply be a disservice to his current identity. Knowing that everyone was watching him, when Uchiha Yuzuru reopened his eyes, the profound Mangekyo Sharingan pattern had disappeared, leaving only 3 pitch-black tomo slowly spinning in his eyes. But even so, it filled Uchiha Yakumi and Uchiha Inaho's eyes with envy. A 3-tomoed Sharingan. This was the power every Uchiha yearned for. After Uchiha Yakumi and Uchiha Inaho exchanged glances, Uchiha Yakumi whispered, "What's wrong with Senior Yuzuru?" He suddenly laughed so loudly and even activated his 3-tomoed Sharingan. He seems a bit off, doesn't he? Uchiha Inaho snorted lightly and couldn't help but retort. What's off about him? He's just excited. If I could also become a squad leader with a 3-tomoed Sharingan at 14, I'd definitely be even more excited than Senior Yuzuru. The youngest squad leader in history, after tonight, Lord Fugaku might really be overshadowed by Senior Yuzuru. Uchiha Inaho hadn't finished speaking when he felt Uchiha Yakumi nudge his arm. He turned his head and saw that Uchiha Fugaku had appeared behind them at some point. Lord Fugaku. Uchiha Yakumi and Uchiha Inaho immediately bowed in greeting. Under the gecko, Uchiha Fugaku's tall figure cast a shadow over them, making both Uchiha Yakumi and Uchiha Inaho feel their lips go dry. As the only son of the Uchiha clan chief, Uchiha Fugaku had been hailed as a genius since childhood. Later, he even earned the moniker Fugaku of the Wicked Eye during the Second Ninja World War. His serious, rigid appearance combined with his formidable strength gave Uchiha Fugaku an extremely strong sense of oppression. Now that they had been caught discussing him behind his back, Uchiha Yakumi and Uchiha Inaho, these two newly minted ninja, felt like they couldn't breathe. Fortunately, Uchiha Fugaku clearly had no intention of bothering with them. He merely glanced at them before shifting his gaze to Uchiha Yuzuru behind them. Loud shouting is not permitted at Nanga Shrine. Do you acknowledge your mistake? Feeling the chi that Uchiha Fugaku released, Uchiha Yuzuru merely raised an eyebrow and glanced at him, showing no intention of answering. Seeing this, Uchiha Fugaku's expression grew even colder, and he took 2 steps forward. Uchiha Yuzuru, I'm talking to you. Did you hear me? Annoying. Uchiha Yuzuru frowned and lightly snapped. The atmosphere instantly solidified. Everyone held their breath. Uchiha Fugaku and Uchiha Yuzuru were both star ninja within the clan, and many had discussed who would be stronger in the future. But no one expected these two to suddenly confront each other in such a setting tonight. Yuzuru is really too brave. He's not giving Captain Fugaku any face at all. After all, Captain Fugaku was the one who started the trouble. What does that matter? In terms of strength, Captain Fugaku is definitely stronger. Yuzuru will probably have a hard time this time. Uchiha Yuzuru could somewhat understand Uchiha Fugaku's provocation. Within the clan, competition among fellow clansmen was simply too common. This was the simplest, most direct, and most convincing method for Uchiha clansmen to establish their status within the clan. Only the strong could earn respect. Ignoring the chatter, Uchiha Yuzuru stepped forward and walked in front of Uchiha Fugaku. Regardless of the reason, since the other party had come looking for trouble, he naturally had no reason to back down. What's more, he originally had no good impression of this clan chief, who wavered in the original work and ultimately led to the Uchiha clan's extermination. Now that he was tied to the Uchiha clan, it was a perfect opportunity to establish some prestige among the clansmen. Uchiha Fugaku was the son of the current clan chief and also an outstanding individual among the younger generation. Using Uchiha Fugaku as a stepping stone to establish prestige couldn't be more suitable. Thinking of this, Uchiha Yuzuru slowly walked up to Uchiha Fugaku and said indifferently, "To lecture in Uchiha, just words aren't enough." Uchiha Fugaku smiled. He understood Uchiha Yuzuru's subtext. Whoever is stronger has the right to speak. Arrogant brat, does he really think having a 3-tomoed Sharingan makes him his equal? Today, he would let him know that there are differences even among 3-tomoed Sharingan users. Although the clan meeting is about to begin, for an Uchiha, demonstrating strength doesn't necessarily require using that most primitive power. Uchiha Fugaku snorted coldly, and his dark eyes also turned into crimson 3-tomoed Sharingan. Although it seems a bit like bullying, don't blame me. A brat who hasn't experienced setbacks won't live very long. As Uchiha Fugaku's words fell, the 3-tomo in his eyes began to spin rapidly. A powerful and tyrannical ocular power swept towards Uchiha Yuzuru. Recently, clansmen had been constantly comparing Uchiha Yuzuru to him, and there were increasingly widespread remarks subtly suggesting Uchiha Yuzuru was more outstanding than him. While it was enough to make him resent Uchiha Yuzuru as the clan's former genius, Uchiha Fugaku also had his own arrogance. He wanted to see if this genius, whom the clansmen claimed could surpass him, could truly live up to such an evaluation. Facing the offensive launched by Uchiha Fugaku, Uchiha Yuzuru sneered inwardly, and the 3-tomoed Sharingan in his eyes also began to spin. Feeling the fluctuation of ocular power, the surrounding crowd immediately became excited, and crimson Sharingan appeared one after another in the night. Genjutsu battle, using our Uchiha clan's Sharingan to decide the victor. Excellent, excellent. Who do you think will win, Fugaku or Yuzuru? Nonsense. Although Yuzuru is very talented, he hasn't fully matured yet, so he definitely isn't Fugaku's opponent. Indeed, the genius youth is probably about to face his first setback in life. Regarding this sudden confrontation, most Uchiha clansmen were still more optimistic about Uchiha Fugaku. After all, even though both were genius, Fugaku was a full 9 years older than Yuzuru and was in the prime of his life as a ninja. Under everyone's expectant gazes, the tyrannical ocular powers fiercely intertwined. However, what no one expected was that after only a few seconds, Uchiha Fugaku suddenly knelt on the ground, his forehead and back soaked in sweat, looking dispirited and clearly having suffered a huge mental energy impact. Seeing the scene, everyone's mouths dropped open in shock. It was clear that in the Genjutsu duel just now, Uchiha Fugaku lost. Fugaku of the Wicked Eye, nothing more than that. Uchiha Yuzuru looked down at Uchiha Fugaku from above, his crimson three-tomoed Sharingan continuously emitting a terrifying pressure. Now that he possessed the Mangekyo Sharingan, his mental energy and ocular power were beyond what Uchiha Fugaku could compare to. Crushing the opponent was only natural. 3 Chapter 3 lessons are meaningless without pain.
Crack.
The sound of bones breaking brought everyone back to reality. Even though everyone present was a notoriously unruly Uchiha, they were all shocked and wide-mouthed when they saw Uchiha Yuzuru twist Uchiha Fugaku's arm until it broke. Uchiha Yuzuru, he's too reckless. Under everyone's gaze, Uchiha Fugaku stood up, clutching his arm, biting his teeth hard to keep from making a sound. Having suffered a severe mental shock, maintaining consciousness was already his limit. Looking at Uchiha Fugaku's pale face, Uchiha Yuzuru deactivated his Sharingan.
Yum.
Just then, a long, drawn-out bell rang, and the gates of the Naka shrine slowly opened. Seeing this, Uchiha Yuzuru pulled at his collar and turned to walk inside. Oh, and although it feels a bit like bullying, don't blame me. Lessons without pain are meaningless because if one doesn't sacrifice something, one can gain nothing. Next time you challenge me, remember the arm you broke today. The confident words from before the fight were almost returned verbatim, and Uchiha Fugaku felt his face burning. This was truly too embarrassing. He watched Uchiha Yuzuru's retreating figure somewhat dazedly. As the person directly involved, Uchiha Fugaku had the most direct experience of the dojutsu power Uchiha Yuzuru had just displayed. Under that surging and violent impact, he couldn't even put up a fight. Uchiha Fugaku, who had always held himself in high regard since childhood, felt an unprecedented sense of frustration. They both had the three-tomo Sharingan, so why was the difference so vast? Everyone entered the Naka shrine one after another, but the murmuring never stopped. No one had expected the confrontation between the old and new generation geniuses to end in such a way. I can't believe it, that guy Yuzuru actually defeated Fugaku. Yeah, and did you notice, compared to Fugaku, Yuzuru seems completely unaffected. It can only mean one thing, Yuzuru's dojutsu power is far superior to Fugaku's.
Hiss.
Terrifying. The power displayed by Uchiha Yuzuru made all the Uchiha clan members present unable to remain calm. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they would never have believed it. They both had the three-tomo Sharingan. Uchiha Yuzuru's dojutsu power was a bit too terrifying, wasn't it? In the secret chamber beneath the shrine, Uchiha Yakumi and Uchiha Inabi sat next to Uchiha Yuzuru, speaking with a hint of excitement. Senior Yuzuru, you're truly amazing. You actually defeated Lord Fugaku. Yeah, we thought you were definitely going to lose just now. Seeing that Uchiha Yuzuru didn't respond, the two didn't mind. Uchiha Yakumi said, with some longing. As expected of the youngest squad leader, I wish I could become as strong as Senior Yuzuru someday. Hearing Uchiha Yakumi's words, Uchiha Inabi stroked his chin, thought seriously for a moment, then said, Yakumi, while you might become strong like Senior Yuzuru, it's unlikely you'll become as strong as Senior Yuzuru. Upon hearing this, Uchiha Yakumi retorted indignantly. Then I ask you, then I ask you, then I ask you, then I ask you. Listening to the argument between the two beside him, Uchiha Yuzuru felt his head would ache if he listened any longer, so he simply closed his eyes to rest. Compared to the others, Uchiha Yuzuru, as the one who defeated Uchiha Fugaku, felt no excitement or thrill. In a pure dojutsu battle, how could the three-tomo Sharingan compare to the Mangekyo Sharingan? He wasn't Uchiha Itachi facing Uchiha Sasuke. It was only natural for him, with the Mangekyo Sharingan, to defeat Uchiha Fugaku with a three-tomo. After waiting for a while, Uchiha Taro, the clan head, appeared before everyone. Everyone quiet down. The clan meeting will now begin. Uchiha Taro first glanced at Uchiha Fugaku, who was clutching his arm, then subtly at Uchiha Yuzuru, before speaking again. Now, to announce the first matter, the plan is for Uchiha Yuzuru to serve as the squad leader of the 7th Squad of the Konoha Military Police Force. We will now vote by show of hands. Those who agree, please raise your hands. Everyone attending the clan meeting was already aware of this matter. Coupled with Uchiha Yuzuru's powerful defeat of Uchiha Fugaku just now, almost everyone raised their arms in an instant. Even Uchiha Fugaku was no exception. Then this matter is passed. Uchiha Taro then looked up and scanned the room. Uchiha Yakumi, Uchiha Nabi, you two will follow Yuzuru from now on. Compared to the selection of the squad leader, the allocation of squad members was much simpler. Uchiha Taro made the decision directly. Uchiha Nabi and Uchiha Yakumi immediately stood up and excitedly said, yes. Being able to follow Senior Yuzuru was their long-cherished wish. Next, let's discuss the issue of family expenditure. Under Uchiha Taro's guidance, everyone also discussed matters related to the allocation of clan properties, the training of clan ninjas, the exchange of ninjutsu resources, and even clan landscaping and architectural planning for the clan grounds. Every detail was covered, and the discussion didn't conclude until late into the night. Uchiha Yuzuru listened very carefully. Since he was bound to the clan system, the clan was the foundation for him to become stronger. These matters, which were closely related to the clan's development, absolutely could not be ignored. Alright, next, let's discuss how to enhance the clan's influence in the village in order to prepare in advance for the next Hokage election. Upon hearing Uchiha Taro's words, the previously drowsy crowd instantly perked up. After only a moment, someone immediately raised their hand and stood up to speak. Clan head, I believe we should increase the manpower of the military police force and dedicate ourselves more diligently to maintaining the village's public order, thereby increasing the influence of the Uchiha clan in the village. I think we can challenge all the strong individuals from other clans to make everyone recognize the power of the Uchiha clan. Clan head Taro, we should regularly have the strong members of the clan teach relevant experience and techniques to other clan members and answer the problems they encounter in their training. Listening to the suggestions put forth by everyone, Uchiha Taro secretly sighed. They were all clichés. While not entirely useless, facts had already proven that these measures had little effect. The Uchiha clan's influence in the village was still declining day by day, and their reputation was getting worse. Sometimes Uchiha Taro really didn't understand why, despite their best efforts, the Uchiha situation in the village seemed to be getting more difficult. Just then, a young voice spoke up. Clan head, regarding how to make the Uchiha clan increasingly powerful, I do have an idea. Uchiha Taro looked up and saw that Uchiha Yuzuru had already stood up. Seeing this young figure, a hint of curiosity couldn't help but rise in Uchiha Taro's heart. What kind of insights would this publicly acknowledged genius of the new generation, the 14-year-old boy who had just defeated Fugaku, offer on such a matter? However, curiosity aside, Uchiha Taro didn't hold too much hope for Uchiha Yuzuru's suggestion. Unlike simple combat, in matters like this, one couldn't offer effective suggestions without rich experience and insights. Clearly, the other clan members thought the same as Uchiha Taro, all looking at Uchiha Yuzuru with amusement. While they greatly admired Uchiha Yuzuru's strength, such matters had absolutely nothing to do with strength. For Chapter 4, Give Birth Early. Give birth more. Give birth to more than you think. Cough. Yuzuru, since that's the case, why don't you share your thoughts? At Uchiha Taro's signal, Uchiha Yuzuru calmly began. To make the Uchiha clan strong and increase its influence, there's a simple and effective method. Seeing how serious he was, everyone couldn't help but adopt a posture of serious listening. Then, they heard Uchiha Yuzuru slowly say, Have children. Have children, huh? Have children. After hearing Uchiha Yuzuru's words, everyone froze in place. Immediately after, they exchanged glances, their faces all showing strange expressions. Having children, what kind of method is that? Ignoring everyone's expressions, Uchiha Yuzuru continued. I suggest that from now on, clansmen must marry before the age of 20. We must marry early, have many children, and exceed the birth limit. Only this way can our Uchiha clan become stronger and stronger. Listening to Uchiha Yuzuru's shocking remarks, many felt insulted. Uchiha Fugaku couldn't help but stand up and say, Uchiha Yuzuru, mind your words. This is a clan meeting, not a place for you to spout nonsense. As Uchiha Fugaku's words fell, someone immediately echoed. Exactly, are you looking down on us? Do you want us to pin all our hopes on the next generation? I originally thought you were capable, but I didn't expect you to be so weak at heart. Our Uchiha clan will absolutely not stoop to needing children to prove itself. Seeing the crowd's indignation, Uchiha Taro quickly waved his hand to stop them. After everyone quieted down, he turned to Uchiha Yuzuru and asked, "Yuzuru, tell us your reasons. Everyone is waiting for your explanation." Uchiha Yuzuru was not surprised by everyone's reaction. Asking these Uchiha clansmen, whose pride shone through their bones, to pin their future hopes on having children was indeed a bit of a blow to their self-esteem. Thinking of this, Uchiha Yuzuru organized his thoughts and continued to state his views. Everyone should know that population is the foundation of a ninja clan. The more people, the stronger the ninja clan's power. During the Sengoku period, many ninja clans plundered populations from other places precisely to increase the number of their clansmen. Take Konoha, for example. When the village was just founded, the Senju clan and the Uchiha clan were undisputed powerful ninja clans, but what about now? The Senju clan has vanished without a trace, and the Uchiha clan can only barely maintain its dignity through its past glory. And the Sarutobi clan, the Shimura clan, the Mitokado clan, the Udatain clan? The ninja clans that were once under our feet have now become an undeniable force in Konoha. Now, Hiruzen Sarutobi and Danzo Shimura dare to heavily suppress ninja clans. Isn't it precisely because of the confidence their clansmen give them? Power and strength are interdependent. Although Hiruzen Sarutobi and Danzo Shimura received approval from Senju Tobirama, how could they firmly control power without the support of a powerful family? Facing Uchiha Yuzuru's questioning, everyone remained silent. Everyone knew that Yuzuru was right. 4 families that didn't even have a bloodline limit have now become formidable powers, relying on their population that even they wouldn't dare to easily provoke. Seeing everyone's silence, Uchiha Yuzuru changed the subject. If the Sarutobi and Shimura clans can rise through population, our Uchiha clan can certainly do even better. Compared to the Sarutobi and Shimura clans, we not only possess a powerful bloodline limit, but our talent for becoming ninja also far surpasses theirs. With the same number of people, which ninja clan could be a match for our Uchiha clan? Having been subtly praised by Uchiha Yuzuru, a hint of pride inevitably appeared on the faces of the Uchiha clansmen. What Yuzuru said seems to be correct. Having children doesn't seem so hard to accept. He should have just said increasing the population. Having children is a bit too direct. I didn't react at first, but thinking about it now, Yuzuru is not wrong. Seeing the clansmen become active again, Uchiha Yuzuru continued. Therefore, marriage and childbirth are not a disgrace, but a century-long plan for the revitalization of our Uchiha clan, a fundamental policy. Without population as the cornerstone, anything else said is just a castle in the air. For the prosperity of the Uchiha clan, I, Uchiha Yuzuru, am willing to lead by example. Everyone who heard this theory for the first time felt a storm raging in their hearts. They had never thought that making the family stronger could be approached from this angle. But upon closer thought, it seemed very logical, and they couldn't find any reason to refute it. However, leading by example in such a matter felt a bit strange. Seeing everyone's reaction, Uchiha Yuzuru didn't say anything more. His proposal of marriage and childbirth this time was merely to give these Uchiha, whose minds were only on fighting and killing, some psychological preparation. To truly implement it as a clan rule would probably have to wait until he took power. Cough. Yuzuru's idea is quite unique. While it won't be mandatory for everyone to marry before 20 as Yuzuru suggested, everyone can certainly work towards this direction. Alright, today's clan meeting ends here. Before dawn, Uchiha Taro concluded the clan meeting. The Uchiha clansmen left one after another. Just as Uchiha Yuzuru was about to get up, Uchiha Taro slowly said, "Yuzuru, you and Fugaku come here." Although he really wanted to experience his newly acquired power, Uchiha Yuzuru was not in a hurry. He followed to Uchiha Taro's residence and sat face to face with Uchiha Fugaku opposite Uchiha Taro. Uchiha Taro picked up the teacup, poured a cup of tea for both of them, and spoke with a smile. "Yuzuru, your strength is somewhat beyond my expectations. I didn't think that even Fugaku is no longer your opponent." Uchiha Taro sized up Uchiha Yuzuru, a look of surprise on his face. As Uchiha Fugaku's father, Uchiha Taro was quite familiar with his son's strength. Fugaku, possessing a 3-tomo Sharingan, was an outstanding jonin. He hadn't expected him to be defeated so easily by Uchiha Yuzuru. Uchiha Yuzuru didn't explain much, only smiling. Clan Chief, you're not trying to find trouble with me on behalf of your son, are you? Uchiha Fugaku couldn't listen anymore. His face flushed as he said, Yuzuru, father is not that petty. Losing to you today was due to my inferior skill. As an opponent, I will definitely defeat you fairly and squarely in the future. Uchiha Yuzuru smiled freely, draining the tea in front of him. An enemy defeated by me is never considered an opponent. I will give you time to catch up until you can no longer see me. As his words fell, Uchiha Fugaku was stunned for more than 10 seconds before he came back to his senses, then felt as if ants were crawling on him. He couldn't beat him, and he couldn't out-argue him. Damn brat, so annoying. Seeing Uchiha Fugaku's composure somewhat crumble, Uchiha Taro cleared his throat and spoke at the right time. Actually, the reason I kept you two here is to hear your thoughts. What are your opinions on the candidate for the next Hokage? 5 Chapter 5 No matter who the opponent is, Uchiha can't be Hokage. Hearing Uchiha Taro's question, Uchiha Yuzuru didn't rush to express his opinion, merely picking up his teacup and taking a shallow sip. Uchiha Fugaku, on the other hand, furrowed his brows and began to ponder seriously. After a while, Uchiha Taro saw that Uchiha Yuzuru still had no intention of speaking, so he took the initiative and said, Fugaku, you go first. Yes, father. Uchiha Fugaku mused for a moment, then slowly began. From the current situation, the next Hokage will likely be chosen between Tsukumo Hatake and Orochimaru. However, even though Tsukumo Hatake has been granted the qualification to wear the Hokage's half-sleeved coat, I still lean more towards Orochimaru as the third Hokage's disciple, becoming the next Hokage. After stating his prediction, Uchiha Fugaku couldn't help but ask, Father, are you planning to invest in the next Hokage in advance? That's not a bad choice. However, after listening to Uchiha Fugaku's analysis, Uchiha Taro shook his head. No, I was thinking, could our Uchiha clan compete for the position of the next Hokage? As the strongest among the new generation in the clan, I have high hopes for both of you. What? Uchiha Fugaku's pupils suddenly constricted, as if he had heard an incredible piece of news, and he couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. Compete for the next Hokage? What a joke. Uchiha Taro glanced at the flustered Uchiha Fugaku, then at Uchiha Yuzuru, who had shown no change in expression from beginning to end, and he couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. He wanted to cultivate Fugaku as the next leader of the Uchiha clan, but compared to Yuzuru, Fugaku's performance was a bit unsatisfactory. Uchiha Fugaku didn't notice the change in Uchiha Taro's expression and voiced his thoughts. Father, why would you have such an idea? He really didn't understand. Not to mention Konoha White Fang, who single-handedly struck fear into his enemies, forcing other villages to issue orders like unconditionally abandon missions upon encountering Tsukumo Hatake. Even Orochimaru, who was granted the title of Three Ninja by the demigod Hanzo during the Second Ninja World War, was already renowned throughout the ninja world. The two of them were undeniably the most prominent figures in Konoha. In comparison, in terms of both prestige and strength, neither he nor Uchiha Yuzuru had any comparability. Seeing Uchiha Fugaku's puzzled expression, Uchiha Taro explained, I'm certainly not asking you two to compete with Tsukumo Hatake and Orochimaru. I still have that much self-awareness. Upon hearing this, Uchiha Fugaku became even more confused. Then what do you mean? Although Orochimaru and Tsukumo Hatake are impeccable in terms of both reputation and strength, they have one fatal flaw. Uchiha Taro glanced at the two of them and said in a deep voice, Age. Age. Exactly. Uchiha Taro took a sip of tea and said confidently, The third Hokage is in good health right now, and if nothing unexpected happens, he'll likely remain in office for a long time. In this situation, by the time the third Hokage retires, neither Orochimaru nor Tsukumo Hatake will be young anymore. At that time, the Hokage candidate will very likely be chosen from among the new generation's outstanding individuals. And this is your opportunity. After listening to Uchiha Taro's explanation, Uchiha Fugaku suddenly understood. Thinking about it carefully, this possibility was very high. It's important to know that Konoha had no tradition of early retirement. Both Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobirama only stepped down from the Hokage position after their deaths. And ever since becoming Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi had always stayed in the village, never venturing to any dangerous places. Given Hiruzen Sarutobi's current lifestyle, living another 20 years would likely not be an issue. By that time, Orochimaru and Tsukumo Hatake would have long passed their prime. Once he understood, Uchiha Fugaku's face couldn't help but show a hint of admiration. He respectfully said, "As expected of father, your considerations are truly thorough." After speaking, he couldn't help but let out a soft snort at Uchiha Yuzuru. "Yuzuru, if things truly go as father predicted, you have a better chance of becoming Hokage than I do. Work hard. The entire Uchiha clan will spare no resources to support you and build your momentum." Compared to Uchiha Yuzuru, he was only 5 years younger than Orochimaru, and by the time Hiruzen Sarutobi retired, he would likely no longer be young. Moreover, before the clan meeting, Uchiha Yuzuru had just defeated him with his powerful ocular power. If it came down to competing for Hokage, Uchiha Yuzuru was indeed more suitable than he was. Seeing Uchiha Fugaku's candidness, Uchiha Taro nodded in satisfaction. The Uchiha clan revered strength, and even if Fugaku was his son, he wouldn't suppress Uchiha Yuzuru for that reason. Uchiha Taro turned his gaze to Uchiha Yuzuru and asked, "Yuzuru, what do you think?" Uchiha Yuzuru placed the teacup in his hand on the table, emitting a dull thud. Then he shook his head and sighed. "I really don't know whether to call you optimistic or foolish. Perhaps it was this optimistic thinking, or rather, this stubbornness of not giving up until the last moment, that led to the tragic demise of the Uchiha clan." Hearing Uchiha Yuzuru's murmuring, Uchiha Taro, who had been waiting for him to praise him, twitched at the corner of his mouth. Not only was he not praised, but he was also scolded. He truly felt an urge to spit blood. Uchiha Fugaku, beside him, slammed his hand on the table in anger. "Uchiha Yuzuru, what do you mean by that? There's a limit to arrogance. How dare you be so disrespectful to the clan chief?" Uchiha Yuzuru glanced at Uchiha Fugaku and said calmly, "I just didn't want to keep what I wanted to say bottled up inside. If I offended you, then I can apologize." "You." Uchiha Fugaku felt like he had punched a cotton ball, his face turning red with anger, pointing at Uchiha Yuzuru and unable to speak. He had originally thought Uchiha Yuzuru would contend with him, and he was prepared for a fight. But he didn't expect Uchiha Yuzuru to directly choose to apologize. Where was his Uchiha spirit? Uchiha Taro, however, was somewhat accustomed to it. Over the years, he had seen many Uchiha geniuses, and there were some who were even more outrageous than Uchiha Yuzuru. "Yuzuru, can you explain your reasoning? Is there anything in the plan I just mentioned that I haven't considered thoroughly?" Thinking of the Uchiha clan's fate in the original story, Uchiha Yuzuru went straight to the point. "You were wrong from the start. No matter who the opponent is, our Uchiha clan cannot become Hokage." From Senju Tobirama onwards, the Hokage line had shown extreme vigilance towards the Uchiha clan. In their view, the Uchiha clan was a ticking time bomb in the village. Uchiha ninja could absolutely not become Hokage. Still thinking about waiting for Hiruzen Sarutobi to retire? Before Hiruzen Sarutobi retired, the Uchiha clan would have already been slaughtered by the Hokage line. 6th chapter.